Hey, what's going on, guys? Radio Video here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Stranger Things Season 1 and 2. And I will be going into spoilers, so if you haven't seen these seasons that came out years ago, then you have been warned. Now, I've seen Stranger Things Season 1, I could have sworn I've seen this show like years ago, but I ended up rewatching it, or watching it for the first time. I don't really remember, it's kind of fuzzy, for the first time this week. And then I watched Season 2 for the first time. I know I haven't seen this season, so it was all brand new to me, so I've seen 1 and 2. What do I think about it? Well, I think this is a pretty good TV show. And that's kind of for somebody that doesn't even like TV shows like that. Stranger Things Season 1, I can see why this became one of the most iconic TV shows of all time so quickly. I still remember when the first season came out, people would not stop talking about Stranger Things. And it just exploded on Netflix. In my opinion, Stranger Things is like the king of Netflix. When you think of Netflix, the very first show that I think about, at least, is Stranger Things. It does crazy numbers, everybody loves it, and there's a reason why. And in my opinion, it's because of the characters and the story. The story is extremely interesting because Season 1, you go from, okay, this kid, he goes missing. Seems like a pretty average story, right? A basic story you've heard multiple times. Kid goes missing, blah, blah, people have to find him. But this story is a little more different because they have this thing called the Upside Down, and then you have all these other things the other characters are doing, and in my opinion, that's one of my favorite things about Season 1 is how they had all these characters off on their own little journeys. Like, they had all these strings that slowly connect. It feels like everybody's starting from a different point, and then they all end up leading to the same conclusion at the end, and that feels natural and organic. It doesn't feel like, okay, we gotta hurry up and meet this character so that we can get to the finale. It all feels like it all comes naturally. Because you got Hopper, he's trying to investigate where Will is. You got Joyce losing her mind because her son's missing. You got Lucas and Dustin finding Eleven. Then you get flashbacks about Eleven's past. And then you got, Hopper's catching on to who Eleven is. And you got Jonathan and Nancy and Steve and that whole thing going on. I think the characters are definitely what makes this show. The characters are extremely interesting, they're funny, they're extremely entertaining to watch. In my opinion, my favorite character in Season 1 would be, I really liked Hopper, 11, Dustin, and I think Joyce is also a pretty interesting character too. Seeing everybody look at her as like the crazy character, oh, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, what do you mean you're talking to walls? He can communicate with you through lights? And everybody's looking at her like she doesn't know what she's talking about. But us, the viewers, know that she's not crazy, so it makes you want to keep watching, so that you can say, oh, see, told you she wasn't crazy. So I can see why this show is so popular. It has a lot of angles going for it. There's a lot of interesting things that can capture general audiences, and it's a really easy show to get into. After the first episode, you're hooked. I find it pretty difficult to stop watching every episode. Every time it said next episode, I was like, yep. Whereas usually you'd be like, oh no, it's okay, I already watched an episode, I'll watch some more later. But this was so interesting, I couldn't help but keep binge watching. So yeah, I really like the story of Season 1. Everything just really wraps up. In my opinion, this season was really great. I like the cinematography was great, the music, the acting was pretty good, even from the children. Usually you don't expect children actors to be very good actors, but I think in this show, they did a pretty good job. I know for like, they're just inexperienced. I think they're just as good as the adults. I love how they have so many characters in the show, yet everybody feels so different. Even the kids, they kind of get into dangerous territory with having all the kids feel too similar to each other. Like, oh yeah, they're always cussing, they're always, they're just nerds who say something funny every now and then, but that doesn't feel like the case in this show. I can see why everybody loves this show so much. Now, in Season 2 of Stranger Things, this is a little more fresh in my head, but I think this season was pretty good as well. We had a weird episode with Eleven going to meet 008, somebody that she knew in the lab. I thought it was a pretty interesting show besides that episode. I feel like that episode in particular kind of slowed things way down. But besides that, I feel like the season was still pretty good. I like how they took Steve, a character who was a complete douchebag in Season 1, and made him very likable in this show. Now he's one of my favorite characters. He was just so funny. Well, he was kind of funny in Season 1 too with some of the things he did. Like when he freaks out when he sees Demogorgon or whatever they call those things. And he starts freaking out. And in this season, he does pretty funny things as well. He's just a pretty entertaining character. He feels like somebody who's always trying to be a leader, but nobody takes him as a leader. He always has to be the macho man. He always ends up getting his ass beat. And then they also introduced a character named Billy. This is Max's stepbrother. I thought he was pretty funny and entertaining as well. I know he's supposed to be an asshole, but whenever he's not being abusive towards Max, I thought he was pretty funny. Like when he goes over to Mrs. Wheeler's house and he's flirting with her while her husband's asleep on the chair. Oh, that stuff was pretty funny. You know, it's also just extremely entertaining to see all the scenes between Steve and Billy because, you know, you have these two macho guy characters trying to step on each other's balls, and it's just so entertaining to watch, and their dialogue is so fun, the way they kind of poke fun at each other, and you kind of wonder, does Billy actually kind of care about Steve, or is he just an asshole all the way around? Max is also a pretty cool character too. I like how she wasn't just instantly in the group now. Like episode 1, okay, I'm part of the group now, everybody accepts her. I like how a lot of the characters push back, like Mikey pushes back, and a lot of the others are just kind of like, oh, I don't know if we want her in here, and you know, we can't tell her about this and that, so it felt more like Max had to earn her way into being in the group. Also, Bob was a pretty cool character too. I mean, he was kind of a dork, but he couldn't help but like the guy. He was a really good stepfather for Will. He was trying to be in Will's life, along with Jonathan. It was pretty sad to see him getting killed. And I like how they had 11 have her own storyline this season. I really enjoyed all the scenes with her and Hopper. It was nice seeing 11 kind of have her own storyline and just instantly feel like, okay, we have to instantly put her back with Mike and the rest of his friends. They gave her own little storyline where she's separate from them, so that was nice. Gave the kids some time to kind of mourn 11 and see how they would operate without her, because in season 1 they operated the whole season, they could rely on 11 to solve all their problems. With her being out of the group for the whole season, it gives them time to kind of solve their own problems on their own. Until the finale, of course, where she just randomly shows up, which was pretty cool, I have to admit. Once again, all the acting in season 2 is just as good as season 1. The story is just as interesting. It feels like we're really building to something here overall, with Will Byers and him in the Upside Down. All that stuff was pretty interesting. Joyce being conflicted with her son being connected to that shit in the Upside Down. But honestly, if it was me, I would just kill Will, because he's too much of a fucking problem. We gotta do something about this kid already. There's no reason to keep him alive. He's been compromised already. He's just gonna get everybody killed, so it's better if you just kill the kid already. He's a spy for the fucking giant spider in the sky, or whatever that thing is. So, in my opinion, Will has to go. Don't know why they're trying to keep him alive so bad. I mean, I understand why. He's in the show. He's their friend, their brother, their son, you know. I understand that, but I'm just coming from my point of view. If I lived here, I'd say kill that fucking kid. He's way too much of a problem. But yeah, I really enjoyed season 1 and 2. I'm excited to get into season 3 and see where we go from here. Hopefully they can keep the quality up. I was kind of scared going into season 2 that it would just feel like, okay, well let's just make up some bullshit for our characters to do, because season 1 was such a huge hit, so let's just come up with some bullshit. We don't really know what we want to do with the story. But it kind of actually did feel like they knew what to do with the story. Well, some of the characters kind of felt like they didn't really belong, like Jonathan and Nancy, they didn't really do much. When you really look at it in season 2, what do they really do? The only thing they did was, oh, we had this recording of Dr. Owen saying that he admits to killing Barbara and all this other stuff, and all that happened. That's really the only thing that came out of that. So nothing really important to the overall story, which is basically about Will. Yes, all the relationships in the show, or really make it pop, the relationship between 11 and Hopper and Joyce, you know, all this kind of stuff really adds to the show. Everybody feels like they have a connection to each other, and I really buy it. It doesn't feel like it's forced. So yeah, I really enjoyed Stranger Things so far. The pacing has been pretty fine for me so far. I haven't noticed any dragging. It's got a decent amount of episodes, 8 to 9 episodes so far. Not too short, not too long. I think they're doing a good job so far with the show. Sure, some nitpicky things here and there I could point out, but overall, I haven't seen anything that's ruined the show for me. But what did you guys think about Stranger Things Season 1 and 2? Are these some of your favorite seasons? Or is Season 3 and 4 where it really gets good? I haven't seen these seasons yet, so when I do, I will review them. And yeah, tune in for that, and I'll see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the video.